This is Perspectivas Latinas, a community service of CAN TV. I'm your host, Juan Carlos Hernandez. Though Latinos are entering college at a greater rate, they still face many challenges. Our guest today is Andrew Sun from the Illinois Latino Council on Higher Education. He's here to talk about his organization and how they help Latinos confront some of the issues they still face. Let's start off by talking about how you became part of ILACHE and why education is such a big concern for you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I became a member of the ILACHE board approximately 4 years ago. It was sort of a year after I became the president of St. Augustine College. And I thought it was important to extend my participation in higher education in Illinois by becoming part of ILACHE. As president of a college, of course, I had the responsibility to be the leader of one institution, but I thought we all have a responsibility to try and do more, and that's how I became a member of the ILACHE board. I was elected president of the ILACHE board 2 years ago, so in that sense my profile has been raised a little more, but it is part of the mission that I see as part of my life to be able to advocate for issues related to Latinos participating in higher education.
Okay, and I'm curious, how was ILACHE born? Was it something grassroots? Was it an organization that was formed by college administrators or students that said we need to have a bigger voice in higher education?
Actually, the formation of ILACHE dates back to the 1980s, and it was very grassroots. It had some political involvement. Former Senator Miguel del Valle was very interested in, and he still is, in providing better services, higher education services to the Latino community. And at the time, there was a big concern that there was insufficient number of Latinos graduating from high school, going to college, and an organization that was really preceding ILACHE was born with some community leaders that eventually became ILACHE as the Illinois Latino Council on Higher Education. And it's a membership organization, a volunteer organization, that is, members are mostly Latino college staff, administrators, faculty, and students.
And you're a volunteer organization that works with Latinos in colleges and universities, but how do you work with students, staff, administrators, and faculty? They all face different needs, don't they?
Yeah. Exactly, and our mission, I mean, to sort of take a step back, the mission of the organization is to create an environment in the state of Illinois where there's more Latinos participating in the higher education process at all levels. So number one, we're an advocacy organization where we try to advocate for more participation and by having more access to students to higher education. We have, our work in that area has been usually around advocacy for financial aid.
So you go downstate to the state capitol and you say you need to give more money that will be available to Latinos.
Right. We this in terms of student, particularly at the undergraduate level. We do go to Springfield. We also participate with other Latino organizations that are involved in Springfield, as well as writing some policy papers, briefs, opinions, and communicating personally with our legislators, because to be honest, I think that sometimes is the most effective way. It's not so much going as a group to their office, but when you see them in other events, we're always representing ILACHE. At the undergraduate level, our major focus has been to continue to advocate for the MAP Award. The MAP Award is the monetary award program that the state of Illinois has for individuals of low income to receive funding to pay for the tuition in any school, whether public or private, in the state of Illinois. It's a very progressive program and a very good program because it actually gives the funding to the student to be able to use in whatever institution best fits that person. It could be a community college, it could be a private institution, it could be a major public research university or a private research university, and you can use your MAP award to access those institutions if you're a low-income person. It's not geared towards Latinos. It's anybody that's low-income in the state of Illinois. However, has been the strongest program, and perhaps unfortunately, our population is significantly represented in people that qualify for MAP award. It's, as I said, a very strong and good program that we very much enjoy in the state of Illinois. Unfortunately, it's not funded at a level that it really serves all the people that deserve it or qualify for it. In fact, over half the people that apply for the MAP award, even though they qualify for it, do not receive it because the funds are depleted. So we are consistently advocating for this program to at least remain level, but in an ideal world, the funding would increase.
Why do what depletes those funds, and how does that? How are students disqualified? Are there? I remember from my days of applying to college, and not qualifying for a lot of aid because our family was supposedly making too much money. I was like, really? I mean, we're working class folks from a blue collar town. Yeah, are students still facing that same type of environment?
That is still an unfortunate reality of our financial aid programs, that to qualify for grant aid, not student loans, but grant aid, you really have to be at a low income level that's so low that makes you wonder if anybody really can live at that level to qualify for it. The MAP award is actually a little more generous. You can be a slightly higher income and still qualify for a MAP award. But the issue is that you apply for the MAP award the same way you apply for other financial aid, which is by completing the FAFSA form, and it's on a first come, first served basis. So those who apply early and qualify for it will receive it. Those who apply later, even though they may qualify for it in terms of income, do not receive it because there's no funding. The state of Illinois allocates a certain amount of money, and once it's gone, it's gone.
That's per year.
Correct, per year. And even in this year, 2014, the application process for the academic year 14-15 already began in January, and the funds are depleted already. If any applies now for the MAP award, they will not receive it.
Oh, that's unfortunate. What about? But I'm thinking about students who have Social Security numbers. That's who can apply for FAFSA. What about undocumented students? And with the availability of deferred action, are they able to apply for some of this aid or not?
No, unfortunately not. And it's another area of advocacy in ILACHE where we want to support the undocumented students in whatever category they have. Right now, the state of Illinois, thankfully, has been a little more progressive than other states with the passing of the Illinois DREAM Act, but that has only limited value in terms of higher education. It really permits parents to participate in the savings programs the state of Illinois has for college tuition, but you still are saving and paying. It's not grant aid. And also it mandated the creation of a private fund for scholarships for undocumented students, and we have participated and supported the fundraising for those efforts. But it's still it's a small fund compared to the need we have. So it's of course, the state of Illinois, as being one state in the union, cannot pass legislation that has an impact on immigration law. But we do support some of the progressive measures that the state has taken to the best of its ability with the Illinois DREAM Act.
Okay, so you primarily support, as ILACHE, undergraduate students through the financial aid, or advocating for financial aid. Once students, and there are a few Latino students that actually go on and get postgraduate degrees, or actually graduate degrees, masters or PhDs. How do you support those folks? Because though they are few, I think those numbers are inching up, albeit slowly.
Yeah, no, they are increasing, which is we're grateful for it. What we try to do as an advocacy organization is there's two different levels. There's people that would like a career as a staff or administration of colleges and universities in the state of Illinois, and there's people that are interested in a faculty position. We have a very, very low number of Latino faculty in the state of Illinois, at all levels, but particularly at the research universities. That would be the University of Illinois or some of our bigger private universities like the University of Chicago, Northwestern University. The major work ILACHE has, well, let me take a step back. The major reason we have insufficient number of Latinos faculty, one of the reasons is that we really don't have enough people in the pipeline that are going to earn the degrees that are necessary to participate at that level, the PhDs that are necessary to participate at that level. So for a long time, we'd advocated for what's called the DFI program, the Doctoral Fellowship Institute of Illinois, which provides funding to graduate students of minority background, of color, to obtain money to pay for their tuition and even sometimes their living expenses. Again, this has been an uphill battle in the state of Illinois, a very successful program. Many people have gone through it, but an uphill battle because given the financial state of Illinois, every year we have to struggle for the survival of the DFI program. But it's very good to know that actually some of our board members of ILACHE are also board members of the DFI program and are consistently advocating for its growth, for its maintenance. At the staff level, what we have tried to do is that we are underrepresented as a community, the Latino community, in staff and administrative position in colleges and universities of Illinois. There is a plan in the state of Illinois for all public agencies to increase the number of minorities, increase the number of Latinos specifically, so that it would be commensurate with the population of the state. And part of our advocacy is to insist that the state tries to create programs to fulfill that plan. And that would involve all the public institutions, community colleges and public institutions in the state of Illinois. And we're also in a process of working with individual private universities to encourage the creation of systems that will lead to higher numbers of minorities, higher numbers of Latinos hired in administrative positions. It's a work that we do on a consistent basis because we don't expect results overnight. Our goal as an organization is not is to create the awareness at the state level that this is an issue, and to participate at the creation of systems. We often cannot advocate for individual cases because it leads to some legal issues that we cannot tackle.
Like somebody with getting hired or a tenure question?
Yeah, or someone that believes that they were that they were dismissed improperly or so. We can't really work with that individual case, although we try to provide private advice in a situation like that. But it's that becomes more of a legal question that we are not equipped to tackle. But we try to advocate at the state level, at the policy level in particular. So that's some of the work we do in advocacy at the undergraduate level, at the graduate level, and at the staff level. Another aspect of ILACHE is really try to support professional development opportunities.
Yeah, I'm curious about that because the few Latino professors that I did have, I mean, I would wonder, and then having been a professor in the city colleges myself, I wonder, I want to link up with more Latinos that are teaching, but it was difficult. There wasn't always the time. There wasn't a central meeting, and I didn't know about ILACHE.
Right, and it was still, I mean, I'm grateful for this opportunity because part of the idea is to get the word out that we are there, that we have a website, that we're an organization that's growing. It is a volunteer organization and we all have other jobs, so it's not like we can dedicate all our time to that. But we have an annual conference that's becoming a bigger conference every year. It's just a day-long conference, annual conference coming up soon, so people can check our website for it. And it's an opportunity for people in the DFI program to make presentations of their research. It's an opportunity for people working in other organizations to talk about financial aid. Also an opportunity for camaraderie, an opportunity for people to get to know each other and develop the bonds that help us as a group to grow and participate more strongly in higher education. We're also trying to organize a series of other smaller events, social mixers, where there are opportunities for people working in higher education at different institutions to get together, collaborate, get to know each other, find out about opportunities, find out about other sources of funding for advanced degrees that institutions may have, and that way grow as a community. And and we're also beginning a mentorship process. It's a very informal one. I mean, we don't have a formal mentorship process in
That
ILACHE, but
you have to meet quarterly or anything like that.
and we don't have that sort of structure right now. But we try to connect new people that are working in administrative positions, especially with other more senior people, whether in their own institution or other organizations, to be able to learn the ropes and learn how to maneuver the higher education world, which is actually very varied and different depending on the system. It's very different to work at a community college system than it is to work at a public university system or a private university system, and there's different kinds of advice that you need to provide. In my own experience, I've worked in two systems: private system as private nonprofit system as St. Augustine College,
Yes.
and also for a while I worked for the city colleges. It was a shorter period. My experience is far larger in the private system, and there's lots of things I can communicate to people that are working in such a system. What you do to grow, how do you do to be noticed, what are the expectations that are different from a community college system.
Certainly.
And so we are trying to grow that work.
I'm curious, I want to return to the term you used, pipeline. And you say one of the reasons why we don't have more Latinos in positions of leadership or faculty in higher education is because Latinos aren't going down those tracks. They're not thinking, I want to be a professor. I think sometimes it's a reaction or a decision, better said, to get out into the professional world and make money as quickly as possible. How do you, as ILACHE, try to encourage people to think about this career path? Because it is one that's rarely chosen.
Well, and there's many reasons for that, and there's still a lot of debate in the research world on higher education as to why statistics show that Latinos are actually participating in higher rates at the beginning level. More Latinos are choosing to go to college, and fortunately we still have a completion problem, and we have a problem with continuing into advanced degrees. We find also that there's many reasons that not everybody understands very well. Primarily, one is funding. Another one is, as you mentioned, our community is very much tracked into a professional world where we need to make income soon, and education is tied very closely with income earning potential. We find also that to a large degree our community is one where the people attending college are the first generation in their families going to college. And if you don't come from a background that included higher education in your worldview, it's unlikely that you would think a career as a professor as part of your goals, because you were never really exposed to that. Where we're all exposed, whether we're educated or not, we're all exposed to teachers because we went to elementary school.
Right.
We're all exposed to doctors because at some point we ended up being sick. Or unfortunately, many of us are exposed to lawyers. But a professor is not something we become exposed to that well. So it is a problem. But now let me tell you, I really don't think, and I think my colleagues at ILACHE would support me, that we have a lack of people interested in becoming professors in our community. There are a sufficient number of people interested, but the effort that is required to reach that level and the lack of funding, of support for it, does not lead to many people to choose, even though once they become an undergraduate student and discover that world, they see, I would really like a scientific career. The moment you see what's involved in that, and that there is insufficient funding to support you to achieve that degree, you suddenly choose another path. And that's where our advocacy comes in trying to create funding sources so that more Latinos can go through that pipeline and achieve that doctoral degree and become a faculty member in the state of Illinois, which is a very rewarding career.
Yeah, it certainly is. But I also think, in my own experience, and I do bring it to this conversation because I have been a teacher at a community college, and I thought, well, maybe I wouldn't like to be here all my life, and maybe I would like to teach at a state school or a larger institution. but they require a PhD.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm a journalist, a writer. I'm like, I think to myself, do I really want to invest that time and that money into getting a PhD in English? I mean, because at the end of the day, I'm like, who's going to care, you know? But I think if I had the support and the resources, I would say, yes, you know, that's really something I want to pursue. Have you ever, in your own experience, met somebody that's been on the edge, on the fence about going one way or another?
Oh, all the time. It happens often, and I think many of us that work in higher education have been on that fence ourselves. And it's nice to see when people do achieve the goal of becoming a faculty member and have the success we desired. It's not an easy path. It's one that requires a lot of work for very little reward for a long time. And even then, once you're inside the academic world, there's a series of competitive issues as to what it is like to be
publish or perish.
Yeah, publish or perish, which people don't even imagine. I mean, they think, oh, now that I have the PhD, I'm set.
Right.
And it's only the beginning in some respects to your career. So it is something complex. It is rewarding to see that when people achieve this. I have to say, at a personal level, for me, the biggest reward as a member of ILACHE or as a member of St. Augustine College comes earlier, comes at the undergraduate level. To see people that never thought they could go to college because they come from an immigrant family, and they always thought of themselves as, I need to work as soon as I can and contribute to my family, and enter a college, discover a community, discover their own intellectual ability, and move forward in a degree. To me, that's the most rewarding part of my job and my participation in higher education.
It certainly sounds like it. Tell me, who does ILACHE collaborate with? Obviously, in some sense, they collaborate with like St. Augustine because you're volunteering your time with ILACHE. But who else do you bring in to help support these efforts you're working on?
Yeah, I'm a little afraid I may forget someone here. So, but just to mention a few. Obviously, we collaborate first and foremost with institutions of higher education, which we always represent ourselves. I myself, of course, I'm part of St. Augustine College and part of ILACHE. ILACHE collaborates with St. Augustine College. In our board, we have membership from Northern Illinois University, from DePaul University, from the University of Illinois at Chicago, from Illinois State, from Loyola recently until a board member retired, a variety of other institutions. We also, including the public school system, CPS, the Chicago Public School System. We also collaborate with other advocacy organizations related to Latino issues. The Latino Policy Forum or the Latino Family Commission are organizations with which we're in contact and trying to develop activities together. And beyond that, of course, we collaborate also with state agencies that we see that we have something in common with. The Illinois Board of Higher Education supports our work, and we support their efforts. And there's many others. I hope I'm not embarrassing myself by not mentioning someone right now. If it comes in the next few minutes, I will mention it.
That's great. Now we're close to the end of the show, and you spoke about the reward of working with people at the undergraduate level, people who maybe never even thought they could get into a college or university, and using their intellectual ability to make more of their life as far as career. Tell me about some of your experiences at St. Augustine and how they've shaped you and shaped your vision going toward the future.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. First and foremost, I think it's important to say that higher education is still a very important aspect of our society, and our community, the Latino community, lags behind in achievement in higher education. I know there's controversy over the increased cost of higher education,
whether it's necessary,
the lack of jobs.
Right.
But I think that is overblown. It's still the biggest tool that we have to social advancement in the United States. And it's something that when particularly we have first generation people, It's something that gives us a generational change in our community, where when someone earns a college degree, now that becomes the norm in that family, and the next generation does it, and we see tremendous movement, social advancement, and movement in our communities, in our families, that it's crucial for a stronger participation of the Latino community in American society and to play the role we deserve as a community.
Right.
So at a personal level, for me, has been most gratifying at St. Augustine College that most of our students are the very first time they go to college. To me, some of the nicest moments are working in the evening. We have evening classes that go until 10 p.m. and we have a very strong childcare program where people that do not have at home who to take care of their children, they bring them to the childcare. And there's nothing more rewarding to me than seeing mothers, mostly mothers, some fathers, but mostly mothers, come in the evening with their children in the middle of winter and put them at the childcare until 10 p.m. That's a big sacrifice for those children, for themselves, because they work during the day.
Right.
And they bring them here, they bring a little meal for them while they go to class in order to earn a degree that's going to make a difference in their own personal lives, in their self-esteem, in their ability to earn an income, as well as a difference in their families. So to be at St. Augustine at 10 p.m. and seeing those mothers and fathers picking up their children at the childcare after a night of studying is one of the most rewarding things and something that energizes me all the time.
Wow, that is actually a very beautiful story you're sharing. Thank you so much for coming out today and sharing about ILACHE and your own experience in education.
Well, thank you so much, Juan Carlos. It's a real pleasure.
Perspectivas Latinas is a community service of CAN TV. If your nonprofit organization would like to work with CAN TV, call 312-738-1400 and ask for nonprofit services. Tune into Perspectivas Latinas for local issues and concerns every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on CAN TV 21. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.